The whole industry was impacted by the pandemic and the closing of the trading floors. And XFA operates an equity derivatives and a futures options business on what we call both sides of the street, at the CME as well as at the CBOE. And all of our trading pit operations were impacted as a result of the pandemic, in the sense that the floors were closed. But as you allude, specific to the CME and the S&P former big futures contract, which had a 250 lot multiplier, when the CME shut the floor down, they wound up not reopening it back up, and they discontinued that product. So the entire industry that traded that product was forced to transition to the E-minis product, which has been around with the 50 lot multiplier. For XFA, we really had to help our customers with that transition, because we didn't ultimately know if the customers were going to very easily transition to the 50 lot multiplier smaller product, or if they were going to seek maybe an alternative in the SPX options, which had a 100 lot multiplier across the street at CBOE. What CME did initially when the floor shut was they reduced the block trading size down from 250, minimum block trading size, I should say, from 250 down to 50 lot. That helped a lot in the E-minis universe, because ultimately that product is electronically traded. So now you only had to trade a minimum of 50 contracts to utilize that trading block facility, and that in turn allowed us to represent our customers' orders much in the same capacity as we formerly did when the pits were opening. There's a very robust market making platform that's developed, what we classify as the upstairs market, where we can go source liquidity anonymously for our customers on their behalves, especially for the more complex orders, the 4 legs, the 8 leg strategies that accompany a lot of what we see for the institutional players within that marketplace. And then because that trading block facility exists, we now have a very easy ability to get the other side of their order through these liquidity providers and then execute the trade, put the client up. Honestly, it's been a seamless transition since it's occurred. And we've seen, most of our customers, if not all, pretty much move over to that, migrate to that E-mini product, and we've maintained a very commanding presence in that product. We execute of the publicly listed block trades that occur. For the past few months, we've been executing north of 65-70% of those trades, so we maintain a very dominant position in that marketplace. I can't necessarily say there's been a specific impact. The euro-dollar options itself have been very, very busy over the past year or so, given all of the issues facing the macro geopolitical environment as well as the interest rate environment. We maintain an active trading body in that pit. That's still actually the one trading pit that still exists on the CME floor. That pit was not closed. That market is very unique, very, very complex, and we have seen a rather significant uptick in activity due to the factors that are impacting the overall marketplace, be it macro geopolitical in concert with the interest rates. So the activity, the trading activity has been robust, the customer activity has been robust, and that product definitely saw an uptick as a result of some of the macro factors that are impacting things. So the CBOE increased their global trading hours. Initially, those markets, when they first launched that effort, opened up in the middle of the night, basically. Now they have a curb session that occurs after the close. Okay, so they have a 45-minute curb session. The product closes for a couple of hours, and then it opens up at 8 p.m. Eastern time to trade until the next morning. So as a result of the increase in those hours, XFA maintains a very large global customer base. A lot of our customers are out in and throughout Europe and the Middle East. These customers are obviously awake when we're not. A few years ago, when CBOE initially rolled out the global trading hours, at that time it was called extended trading hours, XFA did have a desk that we put together, but simply stated the demand wasn't there. Given the current macro geopolitical environment, given the current factors that are impacting global markets on a daily basis, there's a lot more demand to have access to markets that trade 24/5. So we wanted to respond with support for that initiative. We feel that it's going to be a bit spotty sometimes, in the sense that some nights are very busy, other nights are very quiet. But the customer base is there, and now that they've extended the hours even further, we believe that there could be some significant demand coming out of Asia as well. So we're seeking to build up our customer base over there to let them know that we're available. But we also service the global bank desks. Even in the old previous extended trading hour session, which now we all refer to as global trading hours, a lot of the bank desks in New York that maintain coverage for the institutional accounts, they come in at 7 a.m. Eastern time in New York. So they had an ability to facilitate trades. So So if you kind of look at the volume that occurs in that marketplace overnight, it's kind of bookend. Sometimes you get a lot of volume when the session opens up initially because something's going on, and then you get a lot of volume towards the end of the session because that's when the New York desks come in. We fill a nice balance in between those two bookends. We have an ability to also trade for our bank customers as well to the extent that they need to operate in those marketplaces. So we feel that it's a very critical place for us to be given our scope and spectrum of business. So we've developed XFA Smart, which is a white label partnership with Cboe's front-end order execution management system, Silex, and then we have some add-on features, both with some additional Cboe risk management tools and some online compliance software management tools offered through a company called SteelEye. Basically, XFA is traditionally a manual handling shop. We are a floor-based agency broker-dealer. We specialize in the execution of equity derivatives as well as futures options. And we do it through manual representation of our customers' orders, especially in the pit-traded products like SPX, VIX, formerly the big contract at CME that we referenced earlier. As a result of the pandemic, fragmentation of workspace, people working from home, people working from desks, you name it, all of the factors that we've all experienced and dealt with. We needed to provide our customers with electronic access to us, no matter where they were, no matter how they were operating. But we still offer the customer that high-touch manual handling capability. But what that electronic offering affords our customers is an ability to kind of create an electronic audit trail, primarily for compliance purposes. So they can send orders to us through either taking a front-end system that we sponsor, Silex, which is the Cboe offering I referenced earlier, or we can fix connect directly to whatever trading system they use. They can then route us those orders. We can create an electronic audit trail for all of the fills and the operational tasks that are on the back end. But we do think the product is differentiated to an extent because, as I alluded, we can get customers access to the FT options platform at Cboe, which is a very robust, customizable risk management software platform. We can also offer customers access to SteelEye through partnership with them to make sure that any of their compliance data management needs are met through that online software capability, especially as it relates with communications with XFA, be it on the chat rooms, on Bloomberg Chat, on ICE Chat, things of that sort, be it in phone communications. MiFID II regulations over in Europe are very robust. Clients need to be able to access a lot of data points to illustrate how they interacted with the marketplace, and they were compliant in doing so. So that product offering allows us to make that very seamless for our customers. And we've got a number of terminals. We've recently increased the number of terminals that we're offering overseas to customers. I don't know the exact number, but it's somewhere between about 45 or 50 terminals through now, and we think it's going to only grow in the future because it is a very positive, robust offering for them to use. We offer those customers the ability to gain access to the SteelEye platform, and that in turn allows them to very quickly, very seamlessly put together a picture of whatever the compliance inquiry might be. When did you send that order? When did you get that fill? What was the market prices at the time? How many people did you quote? Something called RFQ, request for quote. You have to remember that the European markets are more of a trade by appointment market. They have cross-block facilities, similar to what I referenced earlier at the CME. So customers don't necessarily have to go to an auction or a floor-based market, as they do in the US, to get prints done in Europe. But when those European and international customers outside of Europe trade the US products, we operate in an auction environment. And that brings in a lot of complexities to the amount of data that can accompany an order. There's 16 different exchanges, as an example, on the single stock or the ETF side. SPX or VIX is one exchange only. But who did you talk to? How many market makers did you quote? What was the market when we came in to see? All of these factors impact their compliance needs and their regulatory compliance mandates. So we have an ability through the offering of that SteelEye piece of the equation to give the customer an ability to very quickly put together all of those data points on whatever the inquiry might be, and then obviously answer to it. Well, we have our own compliance team that monitors and records everything that we do, right? So we're internally dealing with it ourselves, and XFA is comprised of over 120 trading professionals that combined have hundreds of years of experience. We consider ourselves, the very best in the business at what we do. We understand options, we understand the marketplace, and we know exactly how to handle the customer orders, effectively and, more importantly, compliantly. We maintain our operations, as I said earlier, across a multitude of exchanges. So our compliance people are constantly monitoring everything that's going on. We utilize the CBOE Silex system, as I mentioned earlier. You know, it's probably worth pointing out that that Silex offering is the front end system that we, as trading permit members of CBOE, utilize for our own teams. So therefore, the ability that we have to link customers to that system, either by offering them a front end directly or by connecting to whatever front end they use, that creates a seamless transition of information between us and them as well. So that tool, in effect, helps us as much as it helps our customers maintain our compliance.